Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udhirayet Shrinvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridayantasto hi abhadrani vidhunoti suhritsatam Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtake. So today we are going to read from Canto 3, the status quo, chapter 30, description by Lord Kapila of adverse fruitive activities. So verse 15 to 17. Verse 15. Aste vamati paniyastam grihapala ivahahran amayavya pradiptagnir alpaharo alpachestitaha. Synonyms: Aste, he remains; avamatya, negligently; upaniyastam, what is placed; grihapalaha, a dog; iva, like; aharan, eating; amayavi, deceased; aparadipta agnihi, having dyspepsia; alpa, little; aharaha, eating; alpa, little; chestitaha, his activities. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Thus he remains at home just like a pet dog and eats whatever is so negligently given to him, afflicted with many illnesses such as dyspepsia and loss of appetite. He eats only very small morsels of food and he becomes an invalid who cannot work anymore. Purport: before meeting death, one is sure to become a diseased invalid, and when he is neglected by his family members, his life becomes less than a dog's because he is put into so many miserable conditions. The Vedic literatures therefore enjoin that before the arrival of such miserable conditions, one should leave home and die without the knowledge of his family members. If a man leaves home and dies without his family's knowing, that is considered to be a glorious death. But an attached family man wants his family members to carry him in a great procession even after his death. And although he will not be able to see how the procession goes, he still desires that his body taken gorgeously in procession. Thus he is happy without even knowing where he has to go when he leaves his body for the next life. Verse 16. Vayunotkramatottarah kafa samruddhanadikah kasakshvasa krutayasah kante ghurghurayate. Translation: in that deceased condition, one's eyes bulge due to the pressure of air from within, and his glands become congested with mucus. He has difficulty breathing, and upon exhaling and inhaling, he produces a sound like ghura ghura, a rattling within the throat. Verse 17. Shayanaha parishochatbihi parivitah swabandhubihi vach vachyamano api na bhrute kalapasha vasham gataha. Translation: in this way, he comes under the clutches of death and lies down, surrounded by lamenting friends and relatives. And although he wants to speak with them, he no longer can, because he is under the control of time. Purport: for formality's sake, when a man is lying on his deathbed, his relatives come to him, and sometimes they cry very loudly, addressing the dying man. "Oh my father, oh my friend, or oh my husband," in that pitiable condition that the dying man wants to speak with them and instruct them of his desires. But because he is fully under the control of the time factor, death, he cannot express himself, and that causes him inconceivable pain. He is already in a painful condition because of disease, and his glands and throat are choked up with mucus. He is already in a very difficult position, and when he is addressed by his relatives in that way, his grief increases. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गवं लङ्गायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणम्। नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। I would like to seek blessings from all the Vaishnavas who are present here. Please empower me so that I can speak and purify my mind and heart. I collected few points from many devotees. I couldn't find a direct lecture on this particular verse, so I picked up here and there. So please bless me so that I can logically connect all of them and then present in the right mood and spirit. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। So in this verse, it's pretty much evident, right? We are actually seeing our own future, what it's going to be. And here Kapil Dev clearly instructs what would be the the end goal of those people who are for actually any jiva, but specifically those who are most uh, attached to the enjoyment of the fruitive activities. In fact, in this chapter, Lord Kapila starts with it actually takes us through the whole life, how a jiva goes through progression, like how he's treated when he gets married, his relatives doesn't get satisfied, he's always struggling to satisfy them. Then um, even though he doesn't satisfy, even though his family is not satisfied because he's attached to them, he continues doing it, try different methods to please them, and he continues on. And then one day he becomes old, and then he dies, and then Lord Kapila also takes to the journey. What would be the uh, post death? How is soul tortured by Yamaraj, and then how he is forced to take another birth. So that's a summary of this chapter. In fact, these shlokas, if when I read it, I remembered a couple of verses from the conversation between Vidura and Dhritarashtra. This comes in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 13th chapter, verse 22 and 23. I'm just reading the translation. You have been blind from your very birth, and recently you have become hard of hearing. Your memory is shortened, and your intelligence is disrupted. Your teeth are loose, your liver is defective, and you're coughing mucus. So you can relate, right? This is exactly what the first shloka says. Like when one becomes old, yeah, the mucus, because you have a lot of mucus, you're not able to even talk properly. At the same time, there's a constant sound, ghar, 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 from people. And then, alas, how powerful are the hopes of a living being to continue his life. Verily, you are living just like a household dog and are eating remnants of food given by Bhima. So there, Dhritarashtra, Vidura kind of compared or said that you are actually eating the remnants given by the Bhima, just to uh, the whole purpose is to um, uh, motivate the Dhritarashtra actually to take up the spiritual life. That's the whole point. And here also, all these verses are actually being portrayed so that we can actually understand the reality of life, what is in front of us, and we prepare ourselves in this whatever life stage in we are. We take it seriously and prepare ourselves for the old age. So as I was sharing my experience last time, I want to reshare those that experience probably in a different way. So when I visited the old age home, I not only saw Charukesha Prabhu, who is a Srila Prabhupada disciple, but I also saw other old people around in that senior center, and I could see a lot of things which was actually mentioned in this shloka, so I can pretty much relate to it. So another thing that was striking was these people were actually, when we were actually went to Charukesha Prabhu, and then we were talking to him. Obviously, he was in a different mood altogether. These people were looking at us with a sorrow in their face, like, why don't have we have people or my relatives come and meet me? They were very sad. They were actually looking as if like, please come to us, please come to us, please spend some time with us. They're heartbroken, and I also seen people spending their time just playing bridge or probably watch soap operas. In fact, I also saw sometimes people who are taken in the wheelchair outside just to get some exposure of the sun. And who are doing this? These are all done by attendees, right? And these are not even our family members. I mean, even if the family members, as this shloka explains, after we become invalidate, even they don't care about us. And we are talking about attendees whom we pay. Don't do you think that they are going to take care of us? No. The only thing that we can read from the face of these people were, when will be the time that I come to a stage of uh, extreme, the end stage of my old age, that I want to die as soon as I can. They were all depressed, extremely depressed. I mean, that is the reality of life. That is what I mean, especially if the life of the caretakers. And we can look at in at least in Indian culture, it's much better than what I saw in the care house. At least in India, we have some culture that we need to respect our parents, take care of the old parents, and but still, that is also dying out. People are actually separating. I mean, now there are more nuclear families than a joint family. So even that tradition is also going. So this is what's going to be our future, right? So we have to understand our future, and then given that we have our own life, the current life, we have energy, um, and we can actually make use of it in much better way. Understand, when we have energy, we serve Vaishnavas. When we have energy, we understand the philosophy. We participate ourselves in various spiritual activities. And what happens with that? One thing, first, we are going to gain knowledge. So we are much equipped uh, with our clarity of thoughts, right? So when we are subjected to these kind of situations in life, we know how to deal with them. That's one thing. The other thing that I recently heard an interesting statement actually. So how do we, or what do we, or how do we experience things around this material world? So we have Paramatma, right? And Paramatma connects our to this material body we are in. And when Paramatma empowers that, then only we are able to experience all these the external world with our senses. And it all depends on our desire, right? So Paramatma is the one who's actually sanctioning with our desires that, okay, this is a desire you want. Okay, then that can be possible only through the sense perception. Okay, I will give you this permission, so you can go and basically experience all those pleasures. But we know that along with the pleasures, we also have to suffer with the pain. But as we progress in spiritual life, and we know that we want to connect to Krishna, this Paramatma also, what he does is he disconnects us from this physical body and he connects to the Paramatma. And this is exactly what I've seen with Charukesha Prabhu. Even though the other people were actually suffering, Charukesha Prabhu was in his own world. He was enjoying. He was thinking about Prabhupada. He was thinking about Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. In fact, when we went there, he was inspiring us. Like, let's do kirtan. Prabhupada is going to be here now. Come on, let's do it. And how did he do it? Because he was always engaged in Srila Prabhupada's service. He painted the temples with a lot of Krishna's pastimes. So that is what it was going in front of him when he was actually in the stage, in the vegetative state where he was not able to get up. He was paralyzed, but still he was not feeling the pain of his body, right? So this is something that we have to understand very seriously. What do we want in our life in future, right? And take up in whatever capacity, take the spiritual path very seriously. Chant our rounds very properly. That's the best thing that we can start with, and that will motivate us to do all the other things. So Shamsundar Prabhu says, when we actually chant, we should listen to each syllable clearly. In fact, this is the first lesson that I learned from Japa session from Romapad Maharaj when I was a college student. One of the technique that was given to me was when you're chanting, you're actually either you're in front of a Hare Krishna Mahamantra a picture, and then you're reading Hare Krishna, or when you're actually chanting, you're seeing Hare Krishna as if the Hare Krishna is like a ribbon of it. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is actually coming in front of it, in front of you. So remember that when we chant, our mind, our words, and our ears should be properly aligned. Mind, when you're thinking and you're seeing the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in front of you, it will be automatically aligned. And because you're listening, so that way you are focusing on Mahamantra. So let us all practice it so seriously. And as we know, Nama is nothing different from his pastimes, right? Lord Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's form. So eventually, when we perfect our chanting, Krishna will definitely come and present before us. So that's why let us take this path very seriously. And we are so fortunate that we are getting this knowledge when we are young and we have energy. And Prabhupada so wonderfully have designed this big family where we can take advantage, take help from each other, and motivate ourselves and be in this path. So those are some of the points that I could think of. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And